I'm Catherine Steinmann. I was born and raised in Paris, France, and after studying 2 years in Berlin, I came to America in 1968. I started in the darkroom, 1979, and when that picture came right out of the chemistry, I was completely hooked. For 30 years, I worked in the darkroom, black and white photographer. Lots of pictures taken at night, at dusk, getting up very early, and I really enjoyed doing that. To have this time to myself when I photographed those buildings. Nobody was talking to me. It was a quiet time. I really enjoyed developing what I saw. It's like a drop in time, which I love to capture. I love to capture things that are historically gone, and it's building. It's sometime I look at something and I said, this is not going to last. I better take pictures of it now. I even have a picture at the 9/11 memorial of the blue light coming out, and that was purchased by the museum when they opened up. They loved that picture. So they made a big poster out of it. Then one day I took a picture in portraiture, because if I was not taking pictures of people, I had to start somewhere. And I asked my niece, who was about 9 months pregnant, get undressed. This week we are taking pictures of the nude. I want to take those pictures. So I bring them out in the class, and there were about 5 of them in different poses. And one lady was pregnant. She said, oh my God, you're so good. Can I pay you? And I'll come to your studio and you take my pictures. So I became a professional photographer from that day on. I started to build up clientele over the years. People who actually came for their first child, second child, they would fly from Oklahoma, from other part of the country, so that I could take their picture. And that was really wonderful. And I belonged to a couple of organizations where they had the childbirth at home, and I got wonderful clients as a result. The platinum work is something that the museum wanted to collect. The Museum of the City of New York has my work, and Brooklyn Museum too, again with the platinum work. I love the process, but I always wanted to get to the next step. What's the next step? What's new? And while all of this was going on, in 2001, I believe, I was one of the very first ones to embrace digital photography. I found the most interesting, innovative people who had invented some chemistry to do transfers on wood, metal. I always push myself into creating things that are unique, different. Many times I create 3D because I also love to look at something that's a little different, where my eyes can get into the picture, just not stay in front of a piece of glass. And it makes you look inside the image. And that's why I started to create things with gauze, vellum, which is an opaque material, and then handmade paper. And my motto was try to get handmade paper. Things you can touch, things that you have made. So in 95, 97, 99, 202, 212, I went to Tibet. And as a matter of fact, one of those trips, we went camping because we wanted to reach areas that were not seen by the public. We wanted to see the Tibetan, the way they lived, the life in the field. And this man is waiting for water very patiently. I have never seen so much poverty in my life. This was unbelievable. I brought back a lot of handmade Tibetan papers, and I went to work to do this Vanishing Tibet. This project took me 6 years. And it's all handmade, and this is most of it one of a kind. Just here it's a tower, and again I made it into plaster. And when I learned about these transfers I could do, and this project I produced, Tibet was really the point of transformation and transition from gelatin, silver print, and chemistry and everything. I just went into this world of let's create, anything goes. I 99% of the work I produced, especially trying to make frescoes, it didn't matter. I threw it garbage and I was at it again, trying to figure out what would last, how long I'd be drying the material, the substrate, in order for the negative to take. There were a lot of questions. These are substrate, and I put this picture on a negative. I cooked the substrate, rabbit skin glue and marble dust. And once it was almost dry, I lit the negative, praying that the image would come onto this fresco plaster. So that was the most difficult out of this project on Tibet. I travel a lot. I've been all over the world, except for Africa. I was recently in Morocco last year, 2 years ago, but I travel all over, and I love South America, I love Italy, I learned Italian. My friend Julie Duquette today, who is my fantastic designer, produced my very first book on pregnant nude called Catherine Steinmann Pregnant Nude in 1994. And then a few years later, my business with the pregnant nude was fantastic. I was really doing very well. And a friend of mine said, there's somebody else out there that wants to do the same kind of book. You better hurry up if you want to make another one. That's when I called Julie and said, I have enough material to work on the second book called The Ninth Month. Half of the book, in fact, is in my studio. The other half is in Hawaii. And I live in Hawaii part-time, so it's New York, Hawaii. And in Hawaii, I did not use black and white. I used infrared film that I could turn into black and white, because I did not want to use studio light. We would just go into the waterfalls, into the river, on the beach, and I would photograph them. And it was a very nice time. Now I'm on top of rooftops. I photograph a lot of the New York at night and the entire sweeping views from skyscrapers. So I have access to a few roofs, so I can call the people and climb the ladder and go with my equipment. So I continue doing that. And I'm also teaching. I'm now giving workshop in Hawaii. So I have like a 10-day workshop coming up where I'll be teaching how to transfer onto wood and metal. And I print on large sheets of film. And then I have a substrate that can be a piece of metal the same size. And then I apply the chemistry with brushes. And I am first going to decide what size do I want. And I make my decision based on that. So that takes a lot of experience and tries. My next book, it's called I Always Loved Photography. And it's actually my fourth book. And the reason being that sometimes you look at photograph of somebody else. I do a lot of judging. And you see that the people want to show off their work, but there is no love in that work. There is no enthusiasm. You can see through the pictures. And suddenly I realized I'm gonna write a book about my pictures. What I've done, I always loved photography. So it's a very, very special limited edition. And this is the reason, after 33 years doing this, I love it more than ever. I have this community of friends, they all love photography. Now I'm not doing the darkroom work. I'm in the alternative processes. So we have grown into ourselves, feeling good about who we are. That's why I am today.